What's up, people? Welcome back to Nowhere Nickels. My content's for educational purposes only. Can't stress enough for you guys to do your own research. Praise my content, throw in the comments any errors you run across. None of us have been alive long enough to know all that transpired in the past, and none of us can live long enough to know all there is to learn. Hey, I'm gonna read a portion out of a book by the name of Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. Okay. It's basically, I'm going to read this because anybody that watches the channel knows that I have a tendency to make reference to spiritual content, referencing the soul, soul contracts, etc. So, not to mention that the benefits of coming into the realization that we are not who like, I'm not who you looking at. I'm not who you looking at right now. This is not the real me. And that applies to each and every one of you. A lot of benefits to the recognition and realization that we are souls. The only thing eternal about us is our soul. And when you come into the recognition, well, the realization that you're not a body, but instead you're much more, it tends to shift one's perception of the world around them. And that is my intent by what I'm about to read to you guys. Okay? Once again, the book is Your Soul's Plan. The Glare. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm only going to read a portion of it because this chapter is quite lengthy. What is it? Yeah. Yeah, it's like 14 pages long. So I'm not going to hold y'all hostage for that long. So, the chapter that I'll be reading from is labeled Pre-Birth Planning. Why we incarnate. The planning we do before birth is far-reaching and detailed. It includes but goes well beyond the selection of life challenges. We choose our parents and they choose us. When and where we will incarnate, the schools we will attend, the homes in which we will live, the people we will meet, and the relationships we will have. If you ever felt you already know someone you just met, it may well be true. That person was probably a part of your pre-birth planning. When a place, name, image, or phrase seems oddly familiar the first time you see it or hear it, that familiarity is often a vague remembrance of what was discussed before incarnation. In many planning sessions, we use the name and take on the physical appearance we will have after birth. Such practices help us recognize one another on the physical plane. The feeling of deja vu is often accurately attributed to a past life event. but many deja vu experiences are memories of pre-birth plans. When we enter the earth plane, we forget our origins in spirit. We know prior to incarnation that we will have such self-induced amnesia. The phrase behind the veil refers to the state of forgetfulness. As divine souls, we seek to forget our true identities because remembering will give us a more profound self-knowledge. To obtain this deeper awareness, we leave the non-physical realm, a place of joy, peace, and love, because there we experience no contrast to ourselves. Without contrast, we cannot fully know ourselves. Picture, if you will, a world in which there is only light. If you never experienced darkness, how would you comprehend and appreciate light? How well would you comprehend? No, I'm sorry. It is the contrast between light and dark that leads to a richer understanding and ultimately a remembering. The physical plane provides us with this contrast because it is one of duality. Up and down, hot or cold, hot and cold, good and bad. The sorrow in duality allows us to better know joy. The chaos of earth enhances our appreciation of peace. The hatred we may encounter deepens our understanding of love. If we never experienced these aspects of humanity, how would we know our divinity? Imagine you are originally from a place in which the most exquisitely beautiful music ever created plays. This music is rapturous, resplendent. As long as you have lived, you have always heard it. It has never been absent, nor has any other music ever been present. One day you realize that because you have always heard it, you have never really heard it. That is, you have never really known it because you have never known anything else. You decide, therefore, that you would like to know the music truly. How might you accomplish this? One way would be to go to a place where the music of homes does not exist. The music of home does not exist. Perhaps a different music plays, a music that contains jarring notes and strident passages. This contrast would instill in you a new appreciation of the music you always heard at home. A second way would be to go to a place where the music of home does not exist and recreate it from memory. The experience of composing those magnificent sounds would give you an even deeper understanding of their beauty. A third possibility exists, one that is much more challenging, but that also holds the greatest promise. It occurs to you that a truly profound knowing can be gained by going to a place where the music of home does not play, and once they're recreating it. That don't sound right. Let me start that sentence over. It occurs to you that a truly profound knowing can be gained by going to a place where the music of home does not play, and once there, recreating it, but only after you have forgotten what it sounded like. The experience of remembering and then composing the extraordinary symphonies of home would produce the richest, fullest, and most expanded knowledge of their inherent grandeur. And so bravely you travel to the world that offers the third option. There you hear the music that you, lacking memory, believe to be the only music you have ever heard. Some songs are lovely, but many strike your ears as dissonant. These harsh tones foster within you a desire, and ultimately a resolve to create original music. Soon you begin to write your own compositions. At first, you are distracted by the loud music of your new world. Over time, however, as you turn away from the external blare and listen to the melodies in your heart, your musical creations grow in beauty. Eventually, you compose a masterpiece, and when it is finished, you remember something. The masterpiece you wrote is the very same music that had played at home. And this recollection triggers yet another. You are that music. It was not something you heard outside yourself, rather, it was you. And you were it. And by creating yourself in a new place, you now know yourself. Truly. You now know yourself. Truly know yourself. In a way that was not possible had you never left home. This is the experience that souls desire. A soul is a spark of the divine. A personality, a human being, is a portion of a soul's energy in a physical body. The personality consists of temporary traits that exist only during the physical lifetime, an immortal core that reunites the soul after death. The soul is vast and goes well beyond any one personality, yet each personality is vital to and dearly loved by the soul. Importantly, the personality has free will. Life changes may therefore be accepted or resisted. Earth is a stage on which the personality enacts and deviates from the script written before birth. We choose how we respond, with anger and bitterness, or with love and compassion. When we recognize that we planned our challenges, the choice becomes clear and much easier to make. While we are in our physical bodies, our souls communicate with us through feelings. Feelings like joy, peace, and excitement indicate we are acting and thinking in ways that are consistent with our true nature as loving souls. Feelings like fear and doubt suggest we are not. Our bodies are exquisitely sensitive receivers and transmitters of energy that tell us through feeling whether there is a match or a mismatch between who we really are and the ways in which we are currently expressing ourselves. Okay. Quick breakdown. When he was referring to the music, and later on in the chapter, he revealed that the music was you and you were it, meaning that you are the soul. But as I've said before, and mind you, this was my first time reading that chapter. You know, as you can see, I have a bookmark in here. Basically, you know, close to the beginning. And when I was looking for a topic to bring to you guys today, it was, see, this is where I ended at, and this is where it was. So, anyway, I've said to you guys in previous videos that Earth is a school for the evolution of the soul. You know, sadly, you know, we after birth, you know, we're programmed and, you know, our minds and our thoughts are co-piloted by society via its many tentacles and facets, and the distractions on top of it, you know, that we're bombarded by. And on top of living in capitalistic society, whereas though money is the focal point as opposed to what the real, purpose of life is, we tend to lose sight of the things that are important in the pursuit of so-called money. Because anybody in my age bracket, even those 20, even those what's that shit, even those 30 some odd years older than me, we were born in a society where there was no real money, because since 1933 there was no real money. There has been no real money. If you know, you know. If you don't, do some research. United States notes are not Federal Reserve notes and could never be, because United States notes were redeemable for gold bullion or silver coin. What are these Federal Reserve notes redeemable for? What gives them the worth that they seem to have? Okay, it's a whole nother video, and you can look back through the 160 some odd videos I've done previous to now to find information on that subject matter and topic. However, back to this subject matter, the evolution of the soul, and the eloquent way that Robert Schwartz constructed that chapter, as an analogy to help one understand the soul in a better way. When one is in the throes of death and he or she realizes that there is no time left to correct anything, to redirect anything, whatever you've done, it's on the field and the game is over. At that point, you can only take very few things. Your actions, deeds, and your heart will be weighed. It's one of the first things, that will happen based on research, ancient research. It goes deep. If you know about how, the ancient ones were buried, and all about the sarcophaguses and why they used to deal with the heart post-death, then you understand where I'm coming from a little better. However, the purpose again for this short video was basically, man, to bring to anyone who comes across this video's awareness that, man, we be worrying about so much of the wrong shit. Now, I understand, that the way things are, it can be somewhat stressful, the adjustment to yourself, more so than anything external, can be stressful. But the benefit, as I was speaking of at the beginning of the video, to adopting, and again, this is by no means a ploy for me to try to get someone to think as I do. This is just a suggestive, measure to help those that may be struggling with the societal attempts at constructing a remedy for the hardship. I'm going to clarify it as a hardship or a trial and tribulation as it relates to learning, accepting, and conforming to the ideology and the quite literal reality of the fact that we are not this body. Because what will move on when this body ceases to have life is who and what we truly are. And that is eternal. You know. So, you know, and I've made reference to the Tina Marie song, I've been here before. Yeah. You know, I'm young and I'm old. Yeah, that song. Yeah. Rich and I'm poor. Yeah, that. Feel like I've been on this earth many times before. See, for some of us, that's a fact. We all seen it. Oh, that boy got an old soul. That girl been here before. Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think? Anyway, man, I just wanted to give a different set of lenses to view, you know, yourself and your life. You know, because if you're from the school of thought, for lack of a better term at this point, that you actually planned your life. You knew the type of shit that would be going on at the time that you were alive and on earth. And you signed a contract to fulfill certain things. All in attempts to evolve the soul. Then you would look at hardships in a completely different way. And perception is truly everything. If you look at, let me give you guys an impromptu analogy. Okay, you in a relationship. You and the individual click almost instantaneously. As soon as y'all lock eyes, it's like, wow, something so familiar about this person. And y'all take to each other like fishes in water. However, free will plays a part. And just like you said in there, you know, you can choose to, based on the free will, we have the option to choose to go left or go right, to face situations head on, extract the lesson, complete the cycle, and evolve, or run from it, evade it, don't learn the lesson, and repeat the cycle, and possibly garner some karma, negative karma, you know, because one thing you do alters a lot. You know, it's very, very important, man, that we learn how to control ourselves, master our emotions, control our thoughts, you know, and elevate beyond the third chakra and come into consciousness and focus on the things that money just can't get you. You know, I point no fingers. I just illustrate, you know, a point, and that is, we tend to be so preoccupied with money, monetary things, monetary possessions. We become so preoccupied with adorning this temporary body, this rental car, as I like to term it, that we neglect and leave at the expense our true self, the you can't see, you know. So, again, like if you run across a hardship like I was just depicting to you guys, and you look at it, oh man, and things just go bad with the situation, you know, you may be like me, you know, I'm empathic, etc. I'm not gonna get into the etc. But you know shit ain't right. You peep everything, but you sit back. Because you'd rather allow somebody to do what they'd rather do, as opposed to you trying to force someone, you know, either to love you or to be 100 with you or whatever, you know, whatever scenario you want to put into it. So, long story short, the relationship goes bad. And instead of you going bad with it, you detach in the most crafty and loving way that you can, without sacrificing the love that you have and that is due to yourself. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if you look at that type of a scenario, or any scenario you bring about, you want to use for yourself. Oh man, shit, I can't believe it. They did me like that. And, you know, what am I going to do now? And everybody's going to be looking at me funny. And, you know, now I'm trying to find a way to get my lick back. Or, again, this is free will we talking about. You can look at it and say, well, I'm hurt. You know, it broke my heart. You know, that somebody that I gave freely of myself and shared everything that I have, including things that money don't and can't get you. But instead, this person was emotionally manipulative and took advantage of me in the most devious of ways. You know, what is the best thing for me to do going forward? You can choose with your free will to just detach and part ways in the most best manner you know how. Lick your wounds, process your feelings, go through it, and then let them go. You know, that's a process in and of itself. And then, you know, when you back to yourself and you've learned the lesson, because you don't go through anything in this life without it being a reason for you going through it. It's either going to grow you or it's going to break you down. I tend to be an individual that, you know, life's already, you know, you know, so many aspects of life is already and have been attempting to break you down. I'm not going to contribute to that end. You know, just like I said, man, you know, you can hold something as light as this out if it was full. This ain't full. You know, or you can hold a water out. It don't weigh nothing, but if you hold that water, and mind you, this container of water is representative of the negative emotions that you hold as baggage within yourself. If you hold this water out like this, the longer you hold it, the more it's going to hurt you. You hold some water straight out like this, or back in the day when you may have been punished. I mean, I've done this too before. Make your child or your nephew or some adolescent that you have responsibility for, when they get to acting up, you get a stack of books and you make them hold it out, or you get a nice thick dictionary, like this etymological dictionary, and you make them hold it out in front of them. After a while, they're gonna get to crying and snotting because that shit get heavy and their arms get to hurting. So what do you think those emotions, those fucked up and negative emotions, and that disdain that you hold in your heart for whoever might have done you wrong, it's gonna hurt you. So you gotta let that shit go. You gotta detach. You gotta first forgive yourself, because it wasn't your fault that that individual was incapable of being responsible for the love that you showed and shared. And this is just one out of millions of analogies that you could use to illustrate this point. Then you have to forgive that individual. And I've went through this numerous times on the channel. Not for the individual, for yourself. Because that is the key that unlocks the baggage that you have clenched in your hands. You can let that shit go and move on with a light heart. Because if anything you lose or anything that is taken away from you in this life, there has to be something better for you. But in order for you to navigate to that something better, or even someone better, it depends how you deal with it. So with that being stated, man, I appreciate everybody that stuck around this long, to get the message that I was attempting to convey. Hopefully somebody got something out of that and can use it in their daily life, or if you know somebody that's going through something and they just can't seem to make sense of it, this may be something in this message that can assist that individual, because these are the types of things they don't teach us. But this is what we come from. Our ancestors had mastered this knowledge. Knowledge is self. Know thyself, and to thyself be true. Do things from the heart, not out of, what do you call it? What's that word? Can't remember the word, but don't do it because you're feeling bad, or you trying to people please. Do it from the heart, because it's something that you innately want to do genuinely, without, getting any notoriety from it or exploiting the act, thereby nullifying the karma that comes, because everything's based off intention, So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. And as is always, it's my hope that, this was beneficial to anybody that's on looking. And y'all be easy, man. Choose happiness, because it's definitely a choice. And it's your responsibility, nobody else's. So with that being stated, y'all be easy. I'm out. Catch y'all on the next one.